All right, this is the truck I just put the engine in. Engine's running great, but remember we needed to look into the fuel pump as well. I didn't know that the fuel pump was actually quoted out in the quote with the engine, so now I'm doing the fuel pump. We just found out about that. So I'm in here looking at this, and I need video note because these lines have all been hacked into. They've all been spliced together, original connectors busted off of it. So I'm looking at this red wire here being on the far right of the fuel tank pressure sensor, and then the middle one it's got like this red and white wire. And then the one on the end here it's like a white and brown. So let me do the red and white one, take that one off, and then the next one, take that one off. Well, here's the hackery. They broke the tab in this one. Spliced in a bunch of lines that I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I'll show you what's going on at the tank real quick. I'm gonna work on getting this, checking this lead and everything, these pins. Check all of it, make sure it's all clean and good. Cleaned the top of the tank off a little bit, brushed it down. Now I'm gonna take it out of there. That old girl was pretty rusty. I mean, she's still good, but she was pretty rusty. She needed me ground down a little bit. Had to hit it with an air hammer while using the special tool at the same time. This is a OTC 310123, and it's made. It's got a notch there and 2 notches here. It's made to pull these off. All right, I got it out. I'm looking at the potentiometer, and it's burned. It's completely screwed. That potentiometer is all black. It's got a varnish line all the way down it, really deep. Look at that filter. That filter's plugged. When you do these, you got to make sure you get the little rubber stops. See, it's got these little rubber things, or the little holes right here, the little rubber stops. The rubber stops fall down inside the tank. You got to get a long needle nose plier. And you see the little stops right there? You got to fish those out of there. And then this line needs to be hooked back up. Overall, the tank's pretty clean. So let's get everything out of there, cleaned up and back together. Show you what a new one looks like from Napa. Nice and clean. Rubber stops in the bottom of it. And then there's that connector from inside the tank. I think it's like a rollover type valve system. So I did the best I could with this. I cleaned it off, painted it a little bit, retaped some of the harness up with some actual heavy-duty cloth tape. I had to pull the fitting out of here because they had the wrong fitting on here, and we can't even get this line or anything anymore. It's a return. So luckily on the return side, there's no pressure going to it, and that'll be fine. So I'm gonna have to hook that back up the exact same way they had it, because they don't have no more money to put into this thing. I tightened the pins up here a little bit. They had a broken piece of plastic inside here where it snapped. So even though it was pushed in all the way, it wasn't snapped in all the way. So I put that in there, cleaned that out, tightened the pins up, went up inside the connector. We don't have access to that connector, and this guy needs his truck back. So I put the pins back the same way it was, except I closed them in and secured it. And then I sealed up the edges. All right, let's hook up the Top Gun Phoenix Lite 2 Pro. They sent this to me. I've got the dongle hooked in down there. Key on. Check engine light was on for the fuel pump that we just did. The potentiometer sweep was all gummed up with varnish, so it wasn't reading, kept dropping out. I like this so much. It's bi-directional. It picks up anything that you, I mean, it just does so much. You can get into like multiple different categories with it. What's up?
I deleted line 4 so you can type the story about the fuel pump. Alright?
Alright, so we're in the truck. You can go to local diagnosis if you don't have Wi-Fi hooked up. I have Wi-Fi hooked up, so I'm going to go to quick access. And we're gonna go to system scan. I mean, this thing is super fast, man. It really is pay for what you get kind of thing. You know, the lower end Top Guns are great. You know, the Artie Diag 600S. That's the one sitting right there that I'm about to actually give away to a young technician in the field that is coming up, and he does a lot of free stuff for health reports. He does a lot of free stuff for the Christian ministries, so I'm actually going to hook him up with a free scan tool. I gave him the choice between the Ansel FX 9000 and the Artie Diag 600S. So these are all codes that were previous there before. So now it's basically telling I cleared everything. So now it's basically saying the systems have not been completed and key and ignition error, because I've got the key turned on right now and forward. So what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and start this up and go put some fuel in it. I mean, just real quick while we're here, you can go into like, if I want to go into system selection, if I want to go into PCM, I can go into the PCM. And I can go into individual controls here. You can go to actuation test, and it'll pull up all the things on the database that you can actually change and bi-direction control. You know, increase or decrease certain things so you can make sure that you're getting good evap valve, gear command, fuel pump percent, output test mode, shift solenoids, anti-theft indicator control, torque converter clutch, turn it on, turn it off so you can diag a shutter coming from a transmission. Let's get out of here and we can go to special functions, PATS, anti-theft functions, infotainment display test, keep alive memory, powertrain control module. Since we're there, we'll go ahead and reset this because we'll clear the learned values. All right, clear to keep alive memory. Set the ignition switch to the off position. Off. Okay. Done. So this tool here is, in a nutshell, very, 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 very nice. It's done everything that I've needed it to do so far. You can go into the security settings. It's gaining security access right now. And you can work on the PAT system, parameter reset. You can do some key programming and stuff with this as well. It's not the top of the line Top Gun, but it's one of the next steps to getting to the top of the line. A very, very, very nice system. And you have diag support through the scanner and stuff as well. It's the Phoenix Lite 2. This thing is phenomenal. All kind of different settings. If you need to charge it with the battery, you can. Cigarette port, you can. If you're in another country and you have a different type of power setting or whatever to charge these things, it's got connectors for that. I mean, it has everything that you need with this tool. All right, we need to go on our test drive now. Well, there we are. No check engine lights, no nothing. Fuel meter, problem fixed. These older 543 valves had an issue with varnish buildup on the potentiometer on the fuel pump, but when they would get real bad, you couldn't dump enough fuel additive in it to get rid of it. And this one was pretty bad. Almost the entire 3/4 sweep was gone. Job well done. Now the customer can take this vehicle and get it out of my hair, because this thing, as you guys know, if you've been following the journey, it's been a nightmare. But she's running good. Real good. He'll be happy. Y'all be blessed.